Welcome to the 3-Minute Gestalt series. This is unit number 21 on Gestalt and group work. So Gestalt draws from Gestalt psychology, and one of the Gestalt psychologists was Kurt Lewin, who developed group work. I think he was probably the first one, you could say, and T groups and group dynamics, all those derived very much from his work. Now, Gestalt is ideally suited to working with groups because we're able to work at different levels. We're able to work at an intrapersonal level, so what's happening inside you, what are you feeling, what are you thinking, your own inner world, and that can be one layer of what we're exploring in groups. And in that sense, it's a little bit much more like if the facilitator is focusing, it's a little bit more like individual psychotherapy or an individual therapeutic inquiry, except it's in a group context. Fritz Perls did a lot of that, the sort of hot seat work where he'd just work with one person. He didn't so much work with group interaction. The next level is the interpersonal. So groups are very good for facilitating interpersonal dialogue, and people can learn a lot by doing that. They can experience the freedom of being able to be authentic and the support of the therapist or facilitator who can guide them into how to articulate their experience and how to be present at the contact boundary and to notice what happens at the contact boundary. So a lot of reflecting back of awareness about what's going on. And then the third level is the group level, the whole field. And on that level, it's very interesting to pay attention to how does group operate, what is its ethos, what are its values, what are its practices, its customs, what's the tone of the group. And we can reflect back awareness to the group. I noticed this, or we can pick out themes that one person brings something up and we can bring that into the group as well. How does everyone deal with this topic, or how does everyone feel about this topic? And we can also look on a group level at how one person represents the whole field. So someone in the group tends to be the outspoken one. We can say, okay, well, what's the part of each of you which just wants to give your opinion and is more focused on yourself than others? And of course, in groups, we also need to pay attention to the quiet ones who can easily fade into the background, not necessarily directing them, but saying, again, awareness statement, I noticed that. 2/3 of the people in the group have spoken up, and we're halfway, and then 1/3 of the people haven't said anything. So a lot of what we're doing in the Gestalt process is reflecting back awareness. Now, there's a type of group that I particularly like to use, which is called interactive group, which means that in Gestalt style, it's focused on here and now, I and thou. Now, not necessarily literally in this moment, here and now, but it's the here and now of the group. So instead of bringing in what are called outside issues, that's your mother, your father, your upbringing, your job, your spouse, which is a lot of what people talk about, in an interactive group, you're only allowed to deal with things that relate to the other people there. It might be historically something that happened the other day or the last week or a few months ago with that person or with the group, or it might be what's happening in the moment, or it might be future projection of the group. But it's all got to relate to the group and to the people there, which brings people much more present and dealing with the actual relationships. Otherwise, group process can sometimes become a bit like a reference to everything else in the person's life, which can be therapeutic and supportive. It's good to be heard. However, interactive group makes it, I think, much more lively and really brings people into the actuality of the group, into the relationships in the group, to paying attention to what's happening, which is a very Gestalt sense. In the Gestalt session, people talk about, a woman will say, my relationship with men, and I say, well, I'm a man. Let's talk about you and my relationship. How do you experience that? Do you experience me as overbearing or patriarchal, or the things you normally associate with the men in your life? So we do the same thing with group members. We get them to pay attention to what the actual experience is with the other people in the group, and that's often a reflection of the way they are in the rest of their lives.